Hanoi has a tropical jungle biome. The tropical jungle biome is characterized by season-long precipitation, which is particularly intensive during the so-called rain season in the spring and autumn. The rainy season lasts at least 10 months per year and creates a humid climate, in which more water falls that can evaporate. Nevertheless, a substantial quantity of water evaporates again rapidly, also by the amount of vegetation, so that the rainforest contributes to the precipitation by the strong evaporation. Hanoi and almost most of northern Vietnam have monsoons. Summers between May and September are very hot with plenty of rain, while winters from November to March are cold and relatively dry. During the transition months of April and October, anything is possible, and spring often brings light rain. The hottest month of the year is June, and January is the coldest month. The most common domestic animals in Vietnam are water buffalo, cattle, dogs, cats, pigs, goats, ducks, and chickens. Wild game in the forests include large cats such as tigers, leopards, and snow leopards, several kinds of wild oxen, and also various types of bears. Although this may just look like a simple butterfly, this species is an indicator species in that they are sensitive to forest health, and they are considered common to areas of Vietnam. Its name is Raggedea chrysilda. The common name is striped ringlet. The king of the forest himself, the tiger, is of course the keystone species of Hanoi. Recent reports of the red-eared slider turtle, one of the world's most invasive species, are damaging Vietnam's environment and economy. The vegetation of Vietnam is rich and diversified, reflecting the great range of climate, topography, and soils, and the varying effects of human habitation. There are more than 1,500 species of woody plants in Vietnam, ranging from hardwoods such as ebony and teak to palms, mangroves, and bamboos. There also are numerous species of woody vines and herbaceous plants. In the aggregate, the dense and open forests, savannas, brushland, and bamboo cover approximately half the total area of Vietnam. Although rainforests are relatively limited, they still exist in Vietnam. In the mountainous region, brushwood, bamboo, weeds, and tall grasses invade logged areas, and also highways and railroads. Between the logged areas are upland forests and other mixtures of forest types. One of Vietnam's most important water sources, the Red River, forms a deep, relatively wide valley that runs in a straight northwest-southeast direction for much of its course from the Chinese border to the edge of its delta. North of the Red River, the relief is moderate, with the highest elevations occurring between the Red and Low Rivers. There is a marked depression from Cao Bang to the sea. In the Red River Delta and in the valleys of the region's other major rivers are found wide limestone terraces, extensive alluvial plains, and low hills. The northeast coast is dotted with hundreds of islands composed mostly of limestone. Also in northern Vietnam, the heavy monsoonal rains wash away almost everything. The monsoonal rains wash away rich humus from the highlands, leaving slow-dissolving alumina and iron oxides that give the soil its characteristic reddish color. The difficulties of maneuvering through Vietnam's tough terrain was really shown in the Vietnam War. Many Marines found it very difficult to move through the vegetation and water. There are several distinct rural settlement patterns in Vietnam, especially in northern and central Vietnam. Geomantic principles influence the traditional internal orientation of houses and community buildings. In central Vietnam, buildings often face the sea. In the densely populated river delta, villages often are tightly saddled, usually enclosed by a bamboo hedge or an earthen wall. Those along rivers, canals, or roads often face about each other, forming a single elongated settlement. As for lowland Vietnamese villages on the central coastal plain, they are characteristically small clusters of farmheads with water sources. Today there are about 75 million people in Vietnam, and all of them make their home and livelihoods in the spectacular mountains of the North and Central Highlands. Among the many languages spoken in Vietnam are Vietnamese, Chinese, English, French, and Russian. During the Vietnam War, herbicides were used by the U.S. Army to defoliate large areas of forest in southern Vietnam. Most of these forests have been regenerating. However, resettlement programs and illegal logging appear to have created longer-lasting damage. Even through all the hardships of the biome of Hanoi and all of Vietnam, Vietnam has always found a way to bounce back. And it will continue to do this as long as we protect it.